Welcome in. It is day 103, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And it is October 21st today. Now, trying to continue with our Halloween theme, I ended up getting to borrow from a friend a small little game. It's intended for 2 to 3 players. And that game is called Skulls of Sedlec. It's a very tiny little package. There's not a lot to this. So the idea of this game is quite simple. You're going to get a bunch of cards that you're going to shuffle up and place out in 6 piles of 3. You're going to then flip over the top of one of the piles, and on your turn you get to have multiple options. You can choose to reveal, meaning you pick 2 different piles and reveal the top card, and then you pick one of them and you add it to your stack. Or you can just decide to grab and add to your stack. You're going to slowly be getting these removed and keep going, and as you go, you're trying to, in a 3-player game, make a stack of 6. So you have to start on the bottom row, meaning whatever you get gets stacked below, and then you have to put another one down there, and once there's 2, now you can stack above it or to the left. And then again, once you've got 3, now you can stack on both on top, and once both of those are there, the last one. It'll be 1, 2, 3 in total. In this game, there are multiple different types of things that you can score. You can score your royals, your peasants, your criminals, your romantics, and each of them have different scoring types. Where your royals want to be the highest, they score for everything below them. So if you can get a royal at the very top, they're going to score all the things below it in that little pyramid style. Whereas your priests want to be representative of all levels of society, so you get 2 points for each level that it gets on. And your romantics are trying to find each other. So for every 2 romantics touching each other, you're going to get 6 points. Now, you can only use a romantic in 1 pair, so if you have 3 next to each other, you're only going to score 1 pair there. But these are the basic ideas you're going for in the game. It's very simple, it's fast, easy to play. You may not be something that you master as far as understanding how to get the points really quick, but nobody should be confused how to play the game. Even a kid should be able to get the basics enough to say, flip, grab, add it to my pyramid. They may not have the best score, but they'll know how to get the basics set up. The game takes under 5 minutes. Why don't we jump in? Let's talk about what exactly our 7 categories are when it comes to matching up with this and where they land. The art is not impressive on this. As I said, you're dealing with this little setup to hold all your cards in it. It's really nice. It's great that you can slip this in your pocket. It's even smaller than a deck of cards. But this doesn't sell me on anything. This isn't some amazing packaging. And the cards are fine, but they don't do anything for me as far as really selling me on the game. So while I like it, it's got to be a thumbs down on the art. The components are really just 2 things. One is the cards themselves, which are great. There's no complaint. They are nice. They don't look like they're going to easily tear. They're not going to wear easily. And then there's this little bag that actually holds it all. Normally, you wouldn't really consider this to be part of the component side. It would be the box. But for me, this is a component. And it's great. It's a nice little wallet type setup. Really, it's not going to fall apart. It's a nice little leather. Easy to put in your pocket. It's a big thumbs up on the components. The price for this game is, the game isn't very expensive. You're looking at probably about $10 to $15 on this. The problem is it's not going to be easy to find. I've never seen this in a Target or in a Barnes & Noble. I think I've seen this in 1 or 2 stores through the years. It never really grabbed my eye. It was my friend who had picked it up. I'm assuming this was a Kickstarter initially because this is just such an unknown game to me, but I'll have to do more research to know on that side. But as far as I could see, the game is cheap, and it's not impossible to get. You can go on and find it online. It's just not going to often be found in a store. But for the price that you're paying for a nice little game, usually I would give that a big thumbs up. But for me, $10 to $15 for a game that's this fast, and a game that personally I find to be quite lower level on the difficulty, the price doesn't quite match up for me. It's not a bad game. It's just one where I'm like, man, I wish that was just a few bucks, because for $10, even though I don't think that's a waste of your money, I do think I'd rather drop $10 on another one of the small games I brought up this month already instead of this. So I'm going to give it a thumbs down on the price. Difficulty this is not difficult. I'm going to say that for kids, it's an easy play, and for beginners, it's a nice little play. I do think that this is going to be mixed in with some of these other ones I've mentioned, your Crypt and your Ghost, as far as a game that you could pull out and play multiple games in a night. But I feel like this is the one that will lose, where all the other ones, people might really like it and decide, I want to put it in my collection for next year for my Halloween games, or can we play that game again? I feel like this one may not get that replayability, and it's because it's just not difficult enough. It's too easy. You have to have enough difficulty to challenge somebody to want to have to keep playing, and I just don't see that with this. It's got to be a thumbs down. Well, I mean, I just mentioned it during difficulty. The replayability is an issue. I don't think this is a game you're pulling out all the time. I think this is maybe an October game. But when you have a game of this size, specifically for October, you're looking for replayability in the same session. And this one I don't think offers that. I feel like the likelihood is you're pulling out multiple small games, and all of those have replayability, and this one is the one that loses out. You get one play and everybody just goes, let's go back to the other ones. Got to be a thumbs down. Your keys to victory, there's plenty of keys to victory in this. As I mentioned, it's about seeing what your options are, adding it to your collection, and knowing how to stack. So you've got to be smart about what you're doing, but there's enough stacks that you're going to be able to flip cards, you can watch your opponents, see what they're stacking, and you'll be able to put together a plan to make sure you're getting those royals at the top. Make sure that you're getting a priest in each level. Make sure that you've got peasants in the town. I just feel like it's going to be able to score in multiple ways, and because of that, the keys to victory are there. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. The unique factor. You know, I just don't think this stands out enough. It kind of feels to me almost like Solitaire a little bit. You know, there's some other basic card games I've played through the years, and I don't remember all their names right now, but the idea of this reflects with those. There's a little bit of theme here, but to be honest, it's not that much theme. And while I do agree that the scoring is pretty cool, I've seen that scoring in bigger, better games. So I feel like if the scoring matters that much, I'd rather play those games. You know, for instance, even Guildhall was a pretty good game for that multiple types of scoring. But if I'm looking for the setup of the pyramid stacking, that falls more into the solitaire area. So for me, I just don't think it's unique enough. It's a thumbs down. Overall, what do I think of this game? It's perfectly fine. I have no issue. I'm not telling people not to buy it. I'm not telling people not to play it. I think that you should probably see if somebody has it and give it a try, and maybe it does hit for you a little bit more than it hit for me. And it is a game you just want to have as a pocket game to bring with you for Halloween or for just every once in a while. But for me, I wouldn't put my money in and add it to my collection. It's just not a big enough, simple hit for really cheap money. You know, it just doesn't add up quite right for me. Well, that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to see if you can find the game, get out there, try it, and see what you think. Well, this has been day 103, and we've been talking about the game Skulls of Sedlec, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description to find an Amazon link in case you want to pick this game up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.